What up, peeps? Tony Baker here. I'm doing the top 10. I'm gonna start doing top 10s now, because everybody loves a good list. And people love to argue about a list, so I'm setting it up for you to argue already. Because I know y'all are gonna argue, well, what about this and that? Well, get ready. I'm doing the top 10, this is my top 10 vampire movies. I haven't seen every vampire movie, but out of the ones that I've seen a lot. These are my top 10 right here, okay? I'm gonna let you know off the rip, out the gate, there will be no Twilight movies on this list. So if you're gonna be hurt, you might as well turn the video off right now, because none of the Twilights are making the cut. I think I've seen 3 of them, but they're not making it. I'm sorry how you feel, you know. I really don't care how you feel about it. How about that? Number 10, Interview with the Vampire. I just remember it being really good. I remember a lot of hype around it, and my mom and brother had read the book, so they were excited. I was like, hey, what up? Interview with a Vampire. They're going on job interviews. Like, what's going on? How do you interview a vampire and not get eaten? That was my main question. I still want answers. That's my number 10. Number 9, Fright Night, the 80s joint. They did a remake with Colin Farrell that was good as well. Since it's a remake, I gotta go with the original, man. Fright Night. I used to watch this a lot as a kid. And that's what goes into my factor in my top 10, the rewatchability. How many times did I watch these movies, okay? I used to watch Fright Night all the time. I remember his best friend, Evil, and his voice, Brewster. I just remember that. Like, it takes me back to my childhood. And it didn't scare me. Like, in the 80s, I was scared of movies, big time. But Fright Night was a movie I could handle. And I was like, yes, okay, let's go. So that was a fun movie, man. Fright Night, got a lot of memories attached. That's number 9. Number 8, From Dusk Till Dawn. Okay, it's a Robert Rodriguez joint starring George Clooney, had Quentin Tarantino in there, and it was dope. Now, what I will say about From Dusk Till Dawn, the first half is way better than the second half. It's crazy, it's a vampire movie, but once the vampires show up, the movie just went all over the place. And these were the softest vampires I've ever seen on film. They were so easy to kill, it was ridiculous. They were killing vampires with pencils, table legs. I was like, what kind of soft vampires are these? And there was a bar full of them. But what led up to the vampire bar was super dope, man. George Clooney was dope in that joint. Quentin Tarantino was creepy. And everything just worked. Number 7, Blade 2. Blade 2 was dope because I like the fact that they got a team together to take out vampires. They got a team of vampires to take out other vampires. That's a dope premise. It's like Predator. Like, all right, we need a team of vampires to take out these. Because what had happened was these vampires mutated into something else. So the traditional vampires are like, yo, we got to stop these new mutated vampires. Blade, will you help us? He's like, I hate all vampires, but we still need to have an uneasy alliance. An uneasy alliance, that's dope for movies. And Blade 2 had that. Had cool gadgets and a dope fight scene at the end. That was real dope. It was crazy how Blade's shades stayed on while he had this epic hand-to-hand combat fight scene. Like, he got punched through a pillar and his shades just slid down ever so slightly. All right, number 6 is actually an anime called Vampire Hunter D. It was just dope. Like, the whole vibe was creepy. I'm a fan of anime, and so this one was easy to understand. It wasn't too crazy and outlandish. And the main vampire was hard to beat. That's what I want. I want the vampires to be tough, creepy, and strong. And I got that from that joint. Number 5, then we got the top 5. Now, that's the top 5. Number 5, Lost Boys. Jason Patric, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Kiefer Sutherland. It's a classic, man. If I say join us, Michael, people know what I'm talking about. The Lost Boys had a dope soundtrack. It was straight 80s. When you watch it, you know it's 80s. It was 80s to a T. The look, the vibe, the style. But I loved it. I remember seeing it at the movie theater. I was like, yo, this movie is outstanding. It was fun. It had the youth in there, so I related to like the younger characters. The Frog Brothers were dope. Joel Schumacher directed this before he ruined the Batman franchise. He directed The Lost Boys. Number 4, a movie that came out around the same time as The Lost Boys but got slept on, Near Dark. It has Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen. First of all, Lance Henriksen already looks like a vampire. If you're not familiar with him, IMDb him, Google him. What made this movie dope to me was that It wasn't glossy. Like Lost Boys was the glossy version of this. Like this is the glossy, cool version. This right here is the gritty, desolate. We not in a fun California town. We out maybe in Texas somewhere. And the vampires were scary. Like there's a scene in Near Dark where they lock people into this bar and just kill everybody. It's so scary. Cause like, what would you do in that situation? Like, and that's what you want, man. It was scary, it was creepy, the cast was small, and it was dope. All right, number 3 is a Swedish film called Let the Right One In. Okay, so if you cool with subtitles, get in on this movie, man. But they did a remake called Let Me In with Chloe, what's her name? Chloe Grace Moretz, who was in Kick-Ass 1 and 2. The remake was good, but I gotta give all the props to the original. They like to focus on this kid who didn't have any friends, and he befriends like a vampire girl. Like they're like the same age. So they, their focus is on their relationship, like a friendship builds, and like, will you be my girlfriend? She's a vampire though. Like, so she's out here, feeding on people. He just wants a girlfriend. It's slow, it's low key, it's not flashy, but if you can make it through that, man, it's really dope. Like it was one of those films I was like, yo. And the vampires, again, were scary. Number 2, 30 Days of Night with Josh Hartnett. This, to me, in my opinion, is the scariest depiction of vampires I've ever seen on film. Like, what do you do? Like, it's 30 days of night. You in Alaska, it's gonna be dark for 30 days, and they just come to this town and feed on everybody. Ain't no sunlight, ain't no sun coming up. What are you gonna do when the sun is not coming? The sun is like, I'll be there, but it's gonna be a month. Can you hold out? No. They eating us every night. Well, I'm sorry, I'll get it. You should have moved. California has a lot of sun. You should have been there. Creepy as hell. What made these vampires super creepy, they didn't speak English. So there was no charm. They wasn't trying to charm you with some leather pants and shirtlessness and cologne and candle. No, they were just here to kill you. Point blank, period. And my number 1 vampire movie, man, y'all know I'm an action comic book guy. Blade is my number 1 pick. The special effects don't hold up, but everything else does. You got a badass main character, hero, villain that took no shorts. It was serious. It was like, I hate vampires. I'll mix with them, but look, I'm taking them all out. Wesley Snipes was perfect as Blade. The characters were good. The action was dope. The main villain, Frost, was dope, played by Steven Dorff. He just nailed it as a young, arrogant vampire that was just sick of the old traditional ways of vampire lineage. And he was just like, look, man, I ain't got time for all that. I'm doing my thing. He was a formidable foe for Blade, and it was like dope. I've seen that movie so many times. That's why it's number 1 on my list. And yeah, Blade is number 1. It's my number 1 vampire pick, man. Y'all let me know in the comment section below what you feel like I forgot, what you feel like I should have gave a shout out to. If you're mad because Twilight is on here, just don't even come to my page. Just don't even show. I'm kidding. You can pull up, but everybody's gonna bash you in the comment section. Nobody respects Twilight on these vampire streets. I'm just saying. Honorable mention on the guilty pleasure tip, Vampire in Brooklyn. Just wanted to throw that in there. And but let me know your top 10 vampire movies. Let me know your top 10. I really want to know, and I will be reading, man. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be doing more top 10 lists. And as usual, we out here.